Folks, welcome into another episode of That Betting Show at SportsbookReview.com. It's August 21st, 2019. We're ready to get this show rocking and rolling. If you can see my face right now, you can see Teddy's face. I'm sweating. We tried to bring the ocean to you. It just wasn't meant to be, but we got a lot of business to go over today. He's Teddy Severansky. Give him a follow on Twitter at Teddy_covers. I'm Donnie Seymour at Right Side VP. A lot of stuff to go over. The bullpen, Teddy, in Washington rears its ugly head. Strasburg with an absolute gem that blows up in the late innings. Let's get right into the hot topics here. Strasburg goes 7 innings of shutout baseball. The bullpen of the Nets lets them down once again. It's something that we talked about yesterday on the show as well, Teddy. 94 pitches over 7 innings. Strasburg gets the job done. Wandy Suero comes in. And how about this one, Teddy? 11 pitches, couple earned runs, and the win and the lead goes up in smoke. Could this be the Achilles heel, Teddy, for those Nats down the stretch here?
It is the Achilles heel for the Nats, and it's been the Achilles heel for the Nats, and it's likely to continue to being the Achilles heel for the Nats, especially with Sean. Not that Doolittle was great, but Doolittle's on the injured list right now, so they don't have a closer, which has clearly been a problem for Washington. And again, we talked about it yesterday right here on That Betting Show. Why are the wise guys betting the Pirates? And frankly, the result a little bit random, being that Strasburg shut them down. Pittsburgh had been 7-28 their previous 53 games. Strasburg came into the game tied for the Major League lead in wins for the season. Archer didn't make it past the first inning. And then the Pirates bullpen shut down Washington for 8 innings, gave up only 4 hits and 1 run. And the Nats bullpen melted down. This is a problem for Washington. They can't be blowing leads against teams that are 7-28 their last 35 games if they're realistic playoff contenders, although one loss doesn't kill them, but it was a bad loss last night for Washington.
No, it certainly was. And when you factor in even some things that went for Pittsburgh, we know the Pittsburgh bats have been ice cold. They were ice cold the entire game and finally gave them a little bit of a way to get out of it. But also, Teddy, Chris Archer only pitches 1 inning. If we can have that crystal ball as gamblers and go back and say, let me get this straight. Strasburg's going to dominate for 7 innings. Chris Archer's going to be out after the first inning. Where do I sign up for this one? That's why it's never a sure thing. We'll keep an eye on these teams and these games throughout the rest of the summer here at SportsbookReview.com. Right here on That Betting Show. Having a little bit of MLB update around the league yesterday. The Cardinals trying to put a nail in the Brewers' NL wildcard chances. Yesterday, the Cards looking for the sweep today after downing the Brewers 9-4 on Tuesday. And how about Aaron Nola goes up to Philadelphia, Teddy? Those Philadelphia Phillies get hot in the first inning. 3 runs. Oh, my goodness. We're going to have an explosion for once. They don't score the rest of the game, but how about this? Aaron Nola shuts down that lethal Boston lineup, and the bullpen actually does its job the way it's supposed to, and the Philadelphia Phillies pick up that W. And the Rays, Teddy, the Rays can't get out of their own way at home, especially against the Mariners. Even over the past few years, it's been the same way. And Mats, we talked about it yesterday. The kid pitches well at home, steps up again in a huge spot as the Mets take down those Cleveland Indians.
Sure, and let's start with St. Louis over Milwaukee. What's it now? 6 straight wins for the Cards against the Brewers. And last night's game, Milwaukee takes a 2-1 lead, and boom, 4 for the Cards in the bottom of the inning, and then 4 more in the next. And all of a sudden, a Milwaukee lead turns into a St. Louis blowout. Brewers going through some hard times right now. They've lost 6 of their last 8. We'll preview tonight's game between St. Louis and Milwaukee a little bit later in the show. You talk about Philadelphia, and you talked about the bullpen for the Phillies. And yeah, the bullpen got the job done kind of last night. Let's not forget, the Red Sox had a runner in scoring position with nobody out in the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. 5 straight innings to close out the game, and they didn't score any of them. So I guess we give the Phillies bullpen credit for getting the key outs, but they were in trouble in every inning, as they've been throughout the course of the season. And you talk about Tampa Bay unable to get out of their own way. A very rare, both teams using an opener game yesterday. Mariners teeing off on Tampa pitching. These are losses that the Rays don't want to have as they head into the home stretch.
Yeah, we got some exciting times here in Major League Baseball heading down that second wild card, Teddy. We talk about it all the time. Leaves a lot of doors open. So some of these leads that you think the Nationals are going to creep into, they still have a little bit of a cushion there. The Mets are creeping up. The Phillies are trying to stay in the hunt. So we'll keep you posted, as we said, all the rest of the summer long in through September right here on That Betting Show. Around the league in the NFL, Teddy, some training camp news. Yes, finally. Dallas gets the deal done, but wait a second, Teddy. It's Jalen Smith, 5 years, $64 million. Not the deal we were expecting out here. There's a wide receiver that wants his money. Something tells me a running back wants his money, and also a quarterback. Interesting stuff here where you have to sit back and say, wait a second. we're the big three. We're supposed to get paid here, but Jalen Smith gets his money there. And the never-ending story in Oakland, maybe it could possibly be over as a certified helmet practice for Antonio Brown, and Denver rookie Drew Lock will miss some time with a sprained throwing hand. And how about this one, Teddy? A little bit of reading the tea leaves here. Brian Flores suggesting that Josh Rosen might not be ready to start for the football team. And how about this one? Amari Cooper, hopefully being back before opening day, has been sitting out, Teddy, since August the 6th with a foot problem here. Some good stuff around the NFL going on.
Sure, and again, this is the time of year where we want to point out, do we worry about this for the regular season or don't we? All right. Cowboys locking up someone who wasn't Zeke, who wasn't Dak, and who wasn't Amari for $64 million. Is that a positive thing for the Cowboys? Maybe. It also makes the fact they haven't signed their guys stand out that much further, and the fact that some guys are getting paid and other guys are waiting to get paid still. I don't know. There's a lot to like about Dallas on paper, but the season not going to be played on paper. Antonio Brown, let's let this story die, please. I understand Hard Knocks getting huge ratings, the best ratings they've had in years. Episode 1, Episode 2, both of them, the best in like the last 7 years, the last 9 years, this decade. I mean, Hard Knocks is getting the ratings, the Raiders are getting the pub, and the Antonio Brown situation is over. Guy's in practice, he found a helmet he likes. Let's zip our lips, but no one can zip their lips this time of year. Everyone needs NFL stories every single day. The Drew Lock situation definitely affects Denver for the preseason. Not in the regular season. Lock wasn't going to win that starting job. Flacco's going to be the starting quarterback. But for the preseason now, the Broncos are down to Flacco and Kevin Hogan. Maybe we'll look at the under when they play the Rams this coming weekend. And as for Josh Rosen not ready to start, he wasn't ready to start last year. I'm not surprised that the tea leaves in Miami saying that Rosen not likely to be the starting QB for Miami on opening day. It's worth noting the opener against the Ravens. If it's not Rosen, that line might come down as opposed to going up, even though Baltimore has been a fairly hot choice in the preseason betting marketplace.
Teddy, just for the sake of a well-oiled and well-run show, I'm going to make sure we lead each and every day around training camp with another episode of Antonio Brown and his helmet to keep it interesting. Overnight live movers here at SBRodds.com, the single best place Teddy knows on the internet to get these line movements and changes, and we love to talk football. It's so close here. Why don't we dip into some of this preseason action and games on the move? Saturday night preseason games. This one's on the move, Teddy. Those Pete Carroll backers circling the wagons out here, Chargers, and the Seahawks with a nice little line move that now shows the Chargers getting 3 points with a total of 41. Both teams preseason game number 3. What gives on this line move here, Teddy?
Well, Phillip Rivers isn't going to play for the Chargers. And that obviously makes a difference in the betting markets. Week 3 for Carroll has been a legit regular season run through. Russell Wilson played a bunch last year in this role. So, and of course, Tyrod Taylor, who's the backup for Phillip Rivers. He had a bad game last week, and then you have Cardell Jones and Easton Stick who could get playing time. This Chargers defense has allowed second half rallies in each of their first 2 games in the preseason. And of course, Anthony Lynn last year, week 3 walkthrough. Well, they lost 36-7 to the Saints last year in the Week 3 walkthrough. So the market's saying Seattle's the choice here, even though Paxton Lynch still sucks and J.T. Barrett is not a guy who I'm comfortable with, and Geno Smith may get playing time this week. Worth noting, Seattle's last win and cover on the road in the preseason came back in 2017.
Teddy, here's an interesting one I do want to take a look at. Not so much for the line move, because some offshore books had opened this line that we're going to talk about at 4.5 and has now rise to 7. It's pretty rare in the preseason that we see a 7-point line, which is now showing its head. The Vikings favored by a touchdown over the Cardinals. This game also going to take place on Saturday. Total 42.5. Both team again playing these third preseason game. But even without that offshore move or one company opens up at a certain level, 7's an interesting number to look at in the preseason. Is that something that we should read into saying, oh man, public just doesn't like Arizona? Or again, it's the preseason. There's a lot of moving parts here. What gives in this football game?
All right, so let's make this very clear. The public might have some influence on some NFL games in the regular season. It's the only sport where they might. In the preseason, none of the line moves are based on public moves. None of the lines are based on public action. The books are worried about the wise guys this time of year, because the wise guys are guys who are tracking down the info and betting stuff before the markets get there. So, and remember, limits are low in preseason. It doesn't take much to move a number compared to the regular season. But nobody's worried about the public and who the public likes this week when it comes to these numbers. These are all, how do we get the wise guys money? How do we stop the wise guys from killing us here in Vegas? And when you talk about 7-point spreads in the preseason, you're only going to see them week 3. You're only going to see them in the regular season walkthrough. where one team's going to be playing starters and the other team maybe not so much. Cliff Kingsbury has made it very clear, quote, "We're not going to show anything in August. The Cards' offensive line and defensive line have been badly outplayed. First stringers in each of the first two games. Zimmer cares. The Vikings have Manuel and Slaughter coming in after Kirk Cousins leaves the game. But at 7, let's not forget, the Cards have been a second-half team in August. They've covered each of the first 2 second halves. Significant cover last week against Oakland. And Hundley and Anderson, not an awful duo to come in once Kyler Murray leaves the game. So even though the line's at 7 now and in the regular season, this would be a mismatch. It's not the regular season, even though the market's kind of pricing it that way.
Yep, dress rehearsals will get you ready for that Week 3 preseason football as the week goes on here at sportsbookreview.com. And, of course, on that betting show, how about this one, Teddy? I had to bring this up because this is a run that almost seems like a commonality right now with the Houston Astros. Minus 500 as I was doing the script. Minus 25 it decreased. And I'm sure it's probably even gotten higher. A minus 500 or more for a favorite today. Total of 8.5. Norris versus Verlander. This is an everyday occurrence, it seems here, Teddy, with these Houston Astros.
Not $5. They haven't been every day, but they are today. Shit, it's already up to $5.50 at the Westgate. That's not a public book here in Vegas. I'm seeing $5.95 on Houston. There's one prominent offshore, which, again, not a public book. It's a wise guy book. So the question you got to ask yourself, if the Tigers win this game 1 time out of 6, you make money back in Detroit today. The Tigers win this game 1 out of 6? I'm not betting on them.
It's amazing. I like to talk about stuff when you see scenarios like this. That is outrageousness, and we'll see what provides. I would love to talk about tomorrow about another big dog cashes here on that betting show. It should be fun to take a look at here. Watch what you bet right here on sportsbookreview.com and certainly on that betting show. We're going to take a look at some baseball games tomorrow, folks. We're going to get you ready for all those preseason games coming up, but we'll take a look at some things on the diamond tonight. The Phillies look to take the series versus the Boston Red Sox. Heavy favorite. They're going to have to punch a nice dog ticket in order to get it done. Red Sox showing a minus 160 favorite with a total of 12. The Phillies now improved to 65-60 on the season with the win yesterday versus the Red Sox. And the Red Sox sitting at 67-60. Smiley and Porcello going to take them out up at Fenway tonight, Teddy.
Yeah, I gave slightly wrong info earlier in the show, and I apologize for that. We're human. What are we going to do? The Red Sox had runners in scoring position with nobody out 3 times in the last 5 innings of that ball game last night and failed to get any of them home. And obviously, when you talk about a runner in scoring position with no outs, you have ample opportunities. Nothing was worse than the 9th, when Bogarts doubled to lead off and then got thrown out at 3rd following a base running gaffe. Alex Cora, he knows the ball's right in front of him. Obviously, it's a big mistake right there. And that's what Boston's done all year. I know they came into this game riding a 5-game winning streak, and the Phillies had lost 2 straight going into the series. But the Red Sox have found ways to lose repeatedly this season, games they probably should have won. Again, when you give up 3 in the top of the first and nothing for the rest of the game, you're supposed to do that. The Red Sox bullpen's in great shape. Jeez, they've allowed a grand total of 1 earned run over the last 23 1/3 innings, 5 games. That's solid. And the Porcello pitched well last time out, finally. Of course, that was against Baltimore. Held him to 1 run, 6 innings last time out. He's been solid here in August after some early season struggles. And Smiley has been god-awful. 16 runs, 14 of them earned in 15 innings so far here this month. He is the ultimate tired retread, and not anyone the markets are excited about backing, and anyone I'm excited about backing in MLB action tonight.
Yep, looks like some runs on the agenda tonight here in Boston. If we take a look at another game here, you saw the Phillies obviously knocking off the Boston Red Sox, trying to make a run at that second wildcard spot. But we also have another playoff team that got knocked out yesterday by an NL East team, and that was the New York Mets on a nice dog ticket. Tonight they flip it over, Teddy, from favorite to dog as the Mets try to win Game 2 tonight versus the Cleveland Indians. Line sitting around that 150 range, a total of 9. The Indians now, Teddy, 74-52 on the season with the New York Mets 65-62 back of the wild card spot number 2. Plutko versus Stroman tonight.
Mets now a season-high 5 games over 500 after yesterday's blowout win. They've won 11 of their last 12 at Citi Field, and the lineup starting to click a little bit. Obviously, yesterday's 9-run outburst, Mickey Callaway, quote, "They're just relentless," talking about his lineup. They're relentless in their approach no matter who comes in. They're up there grinding it, timely hitting. A key big hit usually starts it, and then you get to their lesser pitchers and you add on. That's what good teams do. They add on. Not that Cleveland has a whole bunch of lesser pitchers, a squad that's, 45-22 in their last 67 ball games. They lead the wild card race now over Tampa, and they've erased most of that deficit against Minnesota. Actually had the lead for a cup of coffee against the Twins, though Minnesota's pulled back in front of them. But, they've lost 5 of their last 7 now. A couple of errors yesterday, 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position. Bullpen got lit up late. Terry Francona not pleased afterwards. That's one of the ways we need to play to win, is a clean defensive game. Obviously didn't happen yesterday. From a starting pitching standpoint, Plutko is as weak as it gets for Cleveland starters. That being said, he's okay. Pitched well against the Yankees last week. Stroman has pitched well against Cleveland. He dominated this Indians lineup in his career. He dominated the Indians, 1 run, 5 hits allowed, 7 innings of work when he faced them after the All-Star break with the Blue Jays in July. Last time out, 3 runs, 4 hits, 5 1/3 against Miami. He's not anyone I'm excited about laying any type of a price with, but on the other hand, Cleveland's headed in the wrong direction right now. Be Mets or pass for this better.
Yep, you guys know I'm a Philadelphia Phillies fan out here, but money is money, and Teddy will tell you as well as I do, sitting with some Mets futures in our pockets here, sometimes you got to root on those Amazons up there in New York. We'll see what happens tonight, and if they win, hey, maybe another step closer to getting to the postseason and cashing some really nice wagers when those odds were advantageous just a few weeks ago. Cardinals go for the sweep on Wednesday here, Teddy. Brewers and the Cardinals. -115 were the numbers a little bit earlier, but I'm checking out SBRodds.com as we're filming right here. Looks like some pick'ems at -105 range. A total of 8.5. The Brewers now sit, Teddy, 64-62, losing that grip on their playoff chances day by day here. Cardinals going to send out Adam Wainwright tonight versus Hauser. Should be a good one here, and those Brewers can't afford another loss here, Teddy.
Yeah, the Brewers are 4 game back right now of St. Louis, and that's because they've lost each of their last 6 meetings against the Cardinals. Had they won those 6 games, they'd be in first place right now. Brewers slumping. Last night's game, not pretty. They've lost 6 of their last 8. Cards winning 9 of their last 11 overall. They get Harrison Bader back up from AAA, and he has a monster day last night. And of course, the Brewers are going with Adrian Hauser tonight. He's coming off a career high, 7 innings, just 1 run, 2 hits allowed against the Nats. Craig Counsell after the game, I thought he almost got another gear. He really took it to them. We had some guys that have come in and really solidified our starting pitching, and Adrian's right at the head of that list. We're going to need these guys moving forward. It's a really positive sign what we're getting from our starters right now. Of course, Hauser hasn't pitched particularly well against the Cardinals, and he's got a great ERA as a reliever, 4-0 with a .47 in 17 outings, but his starts, 1-5 with a 5.28 ERA in 10 starts this evening. Wainwright's owned the Brewers, dominated them already this season, 2.33 ERA in 39 career games against them, and Wainwright clear home road dichotomy, 6-2, 2.19 ERA at home, 3-6, 6.64 on the road. Ride the hot, fade the cold in this one. Cards or pass for this better.
Let's have a little bit of fun on the Off the Mic segment today. Don't anger the kid from French Lick, Ted. If you guys don't know what we're talking about here, Larry the Legend Bird has a mural in Indiana, but he does want to protect his brand a little bit because the artist took some liberties here. Why not, right, Teddy? Maybe on the left shoulder up here, put a little mating rabbits, maybe some spider webs on the right side. The artist says, they said the tattoos are a problem. I just can't do an exact replica of a photograph. Plus, I don't want to. We'll see. It's going to be a matter of how much we want and how much we want to change it. Now, Teddy, my question is to you, and it always leads back here. When they put you up on the marquee, right, when they had you up there with David Copperfield and, the Beatles and all the Cirque du Soleil stuff out there, when you get your mural finally put up on the strip, can we take some liberties here and put some tats on you and stuff like that?
Yeah, by all means, dude. Put a tattoo of a snake on my face. I don't care if you give me a marquee on the strip. I had my name on the Stardust marquee once. You can see one of the, actually a couple times when I was in the Stardust Invitational Handicapping Contest, back when the Stardust still existed here in Las Vegas. You see it on my Twitter page. And I'll tell you what, it was kind of cool. And your name's up in lights on the strip. It is cool. If you want to put a tattoo on my face, put 5 of them. I don't care. Stars, hammers, do whatever you want. Snakes. I think a snake would look good. What do you think? Right here?
Absolutely. I mean, that's a perfect segue way to end it. Tattoos all over the show, That Betting Show. We always like when you guys tune into it. Thanks once again for August 21st, 2019. Of course, your one-stop shop for all your sports betting needs. I do apologize. I wasn't able to bring the beats to you guys. We'll try again tomorrow, which probably won't work out as well. But hey, me and Teddy are here to work. That's what we do. Thank you once again for joining us. He's Teddy Severansky. Give him a follow on Twitter at Teddy_covers. I'm Donnie Seymour at RightSideVP. We'll be back tomorrow. We got a full schedule here of football to go over to set you up for the weekend here. Once again, thanks for tuning in. Good luck on your tickets right here at sportsbookreview.com.